Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about a multi-day southern U.S. severe threat and tornado outbreak possible, especially in areas of the Gulf states such as Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, maybe even into some of the coastal states of the Atlantic as well. So let's get started with the Storm Prediction Center, where between the time that I'm filming this and 8 a.m. Friday morning, so an overnight severe threat in areas of Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. So that includes 125,000 square miles of slight risk, including Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Plano, Texas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Garland, Texas, and 52,000 square miles and a population of 6.5 million people. 12 million in the slight risk, but 6.5 in the marginal risk, including Dallas, Fort Worth, Tulsa, Arlington, and Irving, Texas. Then tornado threats. So we have a 2% chance of tornadoes in Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, even parts of Alabama. So let's start off here with that 2% across 39,000 square miles and a population of 2.6 million people, including Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, Edmond, Oklahoma, and Midwest City, Oklahoma, and that 5% risk in Louisiana and Mississippi across 36,000 square miles and a population of 3.8 million people, including New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Metairie, Lafayette, all in Louisiana, and Gulfport, Mississippi. Winds correspond basically to the categorical risk, except in between. So 15% in areas of Oklahoma and Texas, as well as in parts of southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi, and then 5% surrounding that. Hail. We do have a significant severe hail threat in 19,000 square miles and a population of 1.9 million people, including Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, Edmond, Oklahoma, Midwest City, Oklahoma, and Moore, Oklahoma. So the areas of central Oklahoma, parts of northern Texas, in that significant severe risk. And with that hashed area has a 10% or greater probability of 2-inch diameter hail within 25 miles of a point. 2-inch diameter hail or larger. So that is a significant threat there. Then we move on to day 2, which is the more severe time period here, which is from 8 a.m. Eastern Friday morning to 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning. Now, that includes an enhanced risk already, which I do think will expand to much of Alabama, as well as parts of Florida and Mississippi. But right now, as we speak, that enhanced risk is across 15,000 square miles and a population of 1.5 million people, including Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Ferry Pass, Florida, Pritchard, Alabama, and Wright, Florida. Then a slight risk goes all the way up to the Ohio River Valley, including 145,000 square miles and a population of 14.4 million people, including Nashville, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, Louisville, Kentucky, Birmingham, Alabama, and Montgomery, Alabama. Big cities in that slight risk. And marginal risk across 219,000 square miles and a population of 29.7 million people, including Columbus, Ohio, Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Lexington, Fayette, Kentucky. Now, tornado threat is going to be a significant severe threat, which is a 10% or greater probability of EF2 through EF5 tornadoes within 25 miles of a point, which is the same hatched area as that 10% risk of tornadoes. So that basically shows that there's a 10% chance of tornadoes, and the majority of those could be EF2 to EF5 across 15,575 square miles and a population of 1.5 million people, including Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Ferry Pass, Florida, Pritchard, Alabama, and Wright, Florida. So that enhanced risk is that significant severe area. 5% risk across that slight risk that we were looking at the categorical map, and 2% risk across that marginal risk area. About the same deal for winds, but that slight and enhanced area are combined into 15% chance of strong winds. And hail is about the same thing, but we have a significant severe threat across 27,000 square miles and a population of 2.9 million people, including Louisville, Kentucky, Evansville, Indiana, Owensboro, Kentucky, New Albany, Indiana, and Cape Girardeau, Missouri. So this area of the Ohio River Valley could see plenty of hail. Finally, day 3, we only have our categorical risk, but that severe threat moves into areas of the Atlantic coastline from Florida all the way up to Delaware, including 81,000 square miles and a population of 8.9 million people, including Virginia Beach, Raleigh, Norfolk, Chesapeake, and Newport News. And then we have that marginal risk across 69,000 square miles and a population of 16.9 million people, including Baltimore, D.C., Durham, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, and Arlington, Virginia. So, with that, let's move on to our models and take a deep dive into this severe threat. So let's take a look at this multi-day severe threat on a macro and micro level, in a sort of sense. So, right now we have a 998 millibar low pressure system in Texas. This is going to be drawing up Gulf moisture, and overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning, we start to see thunderstorms generate in parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, eastern Texas. That's the first day severe threat that we were talking about. But the real danger is going to be day 2. As all these storms move into Alabama, we're going to see this cold front get very, very strong, even though the low pressure is actually weakening at this point, bringing up Gulf moisture, bringing in cold air behind it, the perfect setup for tornadoes. And then as that second day continues, this is Friday, this is around 15Z. So right as that second day is starting, we see that Alabama severe threat, as well as that Midwestern severe threat starting as well. As this all moves through, this is right around noon Eastern time, we start to see a line of thunderstorms form in eastern Alabama, as well as more thunderstorms starting to pick up in parts of Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee. As we move into the later evening, this is right around 8 p.m. Eastern, we start to see that cold front move through with a re-strengthening low pressure, whereas the southern side of that severe threat is pretty much gone. Now, moving into Saturday, we see that hail threat moving through areas of Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, even into Ohio. Very isolated severe thunderstorms there, and this is all late night Friday. This is at midnight Friday. And you can see that very sporadic thunderstorms, but those thunderstorms could be severe. Now, moving into Saturday and Sunday, we start to see more thunderstorms moving into the Carolinas, Virginia, but again, more sporadic than earlier in the severe threat. Here is our mixed layer cape, which is the energy for thunderstorms. Now, throughout the night, Thursday night, we are going to be seeing up to 2,000 joules per kilogram of energy flowing into Texas and Oklahoma, and especially into Louisiana. And then the biggest inflow of energy is going to be into Mississippi and Alabama, where we could see 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of energy moving through Alabama. I really think that Alabama is going to be the hotspot for this severe threat. Now, in terms of energy for thunderstorms, it's very limited in where that hail threat's going to be, which explains why we're not going to be seeing consistent thunderstorms in that region. Now, as we move into the Carolinas, you could also see that main threat is pretty sporadic, but we could see some more fiery thunderstorms in parts of eastern North Carolina and eastern Virginia, where that cape, that energy, is up in the 2000s. Now, eventually, we could even see some energy for thunderstorms as far north as Massachusetts, but that is very insignificant in this storm system with the path that it's currently taking. What is more significant in this sense is tornadoes, and this is the significant tornado parameter, which is basically our torcon. So in Texas, we do have a torcon of 1.6 in some areas tonight, and maybe even up to 2 along this cold front as it develops. And then through Louisiana, where we have that 5% chance of tornadoes, we have a consistent 2, maybe even 3 torcon. Then as we move into Mississippi and Alabama, we have consistent 2s, consistent even 3s starting to pop up here. And we could even get, in very small areas, 4 or 5 on the Torcon. And that is out of 10. Now, in the areas where that hail threat is, very low Torcon values, pretty much 0 to 1. That kind of shows why we see a very limited tornado threat there, but that hail threat will be much more active because they will be close to that cold air. Any of the super cooled water droplets that have any updraft will be taken into much cooler air than further south. Finally, we move into the Carolinas, where we could see 2 to 3 on that Torcon. Now, I do think that threat for tornadoes will be very small. It will be very constrained to areas such as Newport and areas around the Outer Banks of North Carolina, before eventually we could see a little bit of influx into the Northeast, along that cold front as well, some potential tornadoes even as far north as Pennsylvania. So let's take a zoom in. This is the Gulf states. We're going to be looking in particular at Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So let's start off with tonight. Thunderstorms start to move in to Louisiana. This is right around 11 p.m. Then, as we move throughout the night, we see thunderstorms continuing to pop up and moving out of Louisiana. This is right around 6 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning, so that is 5 Central. Now, it is fully engulfed in Mississippi, and it doesn't move out of Mississippi for a little bit, and it does linger in the south. But now we focus on Alabama. Alabama's main time period is going to start right around that 5 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Eastern time period, and continue throughout most of the day on Friday, with the most severe time periods coming when this band of thunderstorms forms. This is right around 10 a.m. and continuing for hours before it starts to dissipate out of the area. This is right around 3 p.m. with straight thunderstorms still lingering behind that main line of thunderstorms. Now that line of thunderstorms moves through Georgia, where it weakens out, and we start to see more sporadic thunderstorms moving north, but again through Alabama, but north into those Atlantic states. As the system moves through, you can see those sporadic thunderstorms popping up on Saturday. Now, our mixed layer CAPE values that energy for thunderstorms to form is pretty high in areas of coastal Louisiana, in that 1,500 to 2,500 joules per kilogram range. But then we see just an explosion of energy into Mississippi and Alabama, consistent 2,000s and maybe even closer to 2,500 to 3,000 joules per kilogram of energy that will be bringing not only just thunderstorms, but powerful thunderstorms that could bring strong winds and tornadoes. And that energy kind of dies off around early Saturday morning in parts of Alabama and shifts into Georgia, Florida, and then eventually into the Carolinas. Finally, let's take a look at that significant tornado parameter, that our version of a Torcon. So, in parts of southern Louisiana, we could even see a Torcon of 2, and through Mississippi, we could even see a significant tornado parameter, a Torcon of sorts, of up to 3 out of 10, which is significant enough. We saw 3 out of 10, 2 to 3 out of 10 in Iowa, in Arkansas, areas that got devastated by tornadoes. So don't take that low number as barely a chance. It's not really a 30% chance. It's more of a 40 to 50% chance. You can see here that on this high-end range, 5 to 10 only takes up about a third of this bar. So, as we move into Alabama, this is where the prime area for tornadoes is going to be, 4.1 there. And we start to see consistent 4.0, 4.1 values on the significant tornado parameter. And even we start to see these blues, or that's not blue, that's purple. We start to see these purples, that's 4.4. I just saw it there, 4.4, And then eventually into northern Alabama, we could even see 4.6, 4.9 on that significant tornado parameter. Now, that is up here on that chart. So as that moves through, we could see even more of those high values at 4.8. But eventually it does start to die off. The peak here is right around, that peak is from, let's call that, so this is 15, so that is 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, and it lasts throughout most of the day until it starts to wind down. This is right around, let's call that 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, where things start to die off a little bit and move into the Carolinas throughout the day on Saturday and into Sunday. So, a very comprehensive tornado and severe threat. Please stay safe, and if you, they're potentially going to pass a tornado act in Congress. So, if you don't have the emergency alert system on your phone activated, please do so. It is very helpful, and I know sometimes the loud noise is annoying, but especially since a lot of these tornadoes, especially in southern Louisiana and parts of Mississippi, could be overnight, those alerts will be very helpful at saving lives tonight. So please stay safe, and our hearts and prayers are with you all in the Gulf states, because this could be very devastating and widespread. But that is all the information that I have for this severe threat. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell, as well as stay tuned here. There is the potential for another severe threat next week, so for coverage on that, I will be posting multiple videos on that, so subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss those. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.